Hey, it's Emma. I didn't like that I was going gray, so I paid somebody to dye my hair gray. Like it's silver.
Hi, my name is Jolie, and I just ate a lot of chocolate, and now I feel a little bit sweaty and greasy.
That's a better option than me. I've been drinking wine. I'm like, oh no, we're gonna like go to record. Yeah, and like watch this weird video. Cheers.
I just have my water bottle.
Look at you being healthy and stuff.
Did I not just say that I ate a million little chocolates?
Was it dark chocolate?
No. Why would I do the healthier option of like doing something horrible to myself?
I got Nori a new carpet for her bedroom because Mila kept peeing on it. So I was like taking bets on how soon Mila would pee on it. And I was like, I'll bet you $5, like whatever, to my friend. And I'm like, but if you lose, you give me $100. If I lose, I give you $5. I got it on Prime Day, even though like Amazon's the devil.
I know. I keep buying stuff on Prime too. It's a really disgusting thing that I keep doing.
I know, right?
It's the chocolate. It's the buying things on Amazon.
Did you buy the chocolate on Prime?
No, that I bought at a big box store. So go me. That's 10 times better than buying things on Prime, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Costco tomorrow.
I really don't enjoy shopping at those giant fucking stores.
You know, I kind of do. And then I like get a hot dog afterward. I deserve this. This was hard.
This is my prize. So do you like Costco or do you like the hot dog?
I like both.
It's worth considering, right? You have to think for a minute.
I've been buying meat there.
What we really like to do is buy electronics there because apparently you can just return them whenever.
Interesting. I bought an Apple Pencil there.
You have an Apple Pencil for your design work?
Oh, yeah, I do. Fancy. It's awesome.
Did you buy one of the like $200 ones, like the crazy ones?
I got like the generation before that, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works great.
I don't know what the difference is between any of them.
I sort of want to get this thing. It's like, it makes your iPad feel like paper on the outside.
I have those.
Really?
Yeah, I think I might have some extra. So
oh my God, give me.
Yeah, if you want one, I will try to dig it out for you, figure out what I did with it.
Yeah, because, you know, I'm like a graphic designer.
You're like really doing it? How's that going?
Yeah, I like it. I made these like cool suicide prevention posters that I've been supposed to like hang up, but I haven't hung them up anyway.
Wait, what?
I need to like hang them by like
in your house?
No, like by like bridges. They're like suicide prevention posters.
That's awesome though. Fucking COVID is tragic on so many levels, but one of them is like people with mental illnesses are really having a hard time. And I felt like I was like, I definitely like have my own issues, but now that I have experienced this, I'm just like, oh wow, so it can get worse.
I know, right?
Like I am barely functioning as a human being. I try my best, but I definitely, I am not functioning at 100% on any given day.
Me neither. My kids watch so much TV now.
Yeah, my house is a mess. Ripley watched TV all day.
It's Sunday.
At some point, I just kind of gave up trying to regulate any of that. I'm just like, listen, I'm with you all the time. I just want you to do something where you don't have to look at me and I don't have to interact with you.
Because I feel that, like, dude.
I don't know if you're experiencing this, but with the kids in school, like I have to do a lot more than I anticipated.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like ours is going pretty well. But Nori like had to do this diagnostic test and she kept guessing on it and she kept getting it right, like the guesses. So it's like the grown-ups weren't supposed to help and it was to see like what her reading level is and what her math level is. I had to message her teacher and send her like a photo of the reading they were showing her. And I'm like, she doesn't know what's going on. And her teacher's like, well, yeah, it like gets hard really fast. I'm like, no, this is like 4th grade reading. Like this, she can't read this. So I had to go through and on purpose, like answer them all wrong because she's just like guessing them right. Like, shit.
Like, listen, she is a genius, but she's not a genius at reading yet. I can't believe they're in 1st grade.
I know.
You know, like we're getting older. They're getting older. Someday we're going to die.
And then maybe we'll come back and talk to people through radio frequencies.
I'm going to say really fucking weird shit.
Okay, so a couple weird things before we get into EVP, which we're talking about today. I don't even think we mentioned that that's our topic.
No, we literally have not mentioned anything about it. We talked about suicide. We talked about Costco, the normals.
Well, now I need to tell you a couple weird paranormal things that have happened to me. Number one, most recent. I was just outside in my yard and it's like a sliding glass door and I got locked outside. Like I opened the door and closed it and the door was locked. I had to text Benny to let me in. I'm like,
what?
I'm locked out. So that's freaky thing number one. And remember like a while back, I told you about my spirit guide and how I like contacted my spirit guide, whatever. I lost my Apple Watch and I couldn't find it anywhere. And I knew it was at my house because I watched my Nest Cam to see like when I had it last. And I had it last Friday night at like 1 a.m. So Saturday morning at 1 a.m. I'm like, okay, it has to be here. It's in the house. And I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere. Like I took all the cushions off the sofa downstairs. I like moved my mattress. I looked under my mattress. I like looked everywhere. And then in desperation, I was just like, you know what? What's up, spirit guide? Help me find my watch. Like I know it's silly, but like I care about it. So on the way to Target, all of a sudden I saw 11:11. That's what time it was. And Mateo was wearing his fireman costume because he's being a fireman for Halloween. And when we got to Target, there was a fucking fire truck there. Like right at 11:11. And I'm like, this is crazy. And I like took note of like the number. And then I kept seeing the number. So I like asked for help on the car ride, saw 11:11. There was this like miracle for my son. He was so happy. It was so cute. And then I kept sitting on my sofa on the middle cushion and I kept seeing it. Like the first time I saw 1:11, then I saw 11:11 later that night. Like just out of nowhere. It's like I'd look, I'd be like, oh, fucking weird. Okay. And I told Benny and then he started being like, this is fucking weird because it kept happening. And then this morning I was like, you know what? This happens every time I'm sitting on this fucking cushion. I'm looking under it. And my watch was there and I'd already taken all the cushions off. Benny took all the cushions off. I'm like, what the hell is happening? But I have my watch now. Life is good. I ordered a like weird ass one on Amazon, like $30 smartwatch. So I'm gonna return it.
Oh, you're like, I need.
Yeah, I need to count my steps.
I'm a fit person.
Right? If you're not tracking your activity, like, did you even work out?
Well, regardless of whether I'm tracking my activity, I apparently do not work out. So I get the reminders like time to stand and I'm like, time to shut the fuck up. I'm working. I know I can stand and work at the same time, but I'm like not going to because my ass is already asleep. So I'm committed. I'm here now. We're doing it. I don't plan on improving my life. Oh my God. So we're all going to die.
Yeah. Yes.
Cross our fingers that it's not too soon, obviously. And we all have loved ones who have died. Or like I would say, if you're an adult of a certain age who needs a face cream, you probably have suffered someone's death.
Yeah.
People believe that not only do people live after death, like there is an existence after death, obviously, like there's so many religions based around this, right? But they believe that regardless of whether or not their religion says that, you know, there's an intermediate place where spirits can just kind of hang out and fuck around, like with their loved ones, regardless of whether or not their religion believes that at all, they believe that they can contact the spirits of their deceased loved ones or deceased celebrities, deceased, you know, dictators, who the fuck knows? But they fully believe that a spirit is going to like manifest enough energy to come through on like a radio wave so that we can listen to them say irrelevant shit.
Right? I know.
And sometimes it's really touching stuff. I actually have one that is like deeply touching and it made me cry. But
you would.
I mean, I don't believe that it's real. I believe that we were told that we were going to hear it. So we heard it. And I believe that it's like, it doesn't matter if it's real, if it's something that's significant to you, regardless of whether or not it actually happened, if it made you feel loved and cared for and made you feel like everything was going to be okay and it's not hurting anybody, then I think it's fine. It's fine.
I think so too. So we have a Nest Cam and that is where, in the room where we keep my dad's ashes. But I thought that we'd hear something, but I didn't hear anything. Nothing in 4 days.
Spoiler alert, my dad did not talk to me either. So once our dads leave, apparently they're like, fuck off.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know. Maybe he's my spirit guide and he helped me find my phone.
Maybe he's like, listen, I'm not doing this
or my
with
watch.
you. I'm not doing this with you, but like, I'll help you find your watch because you're being real weird about it.
I was feeling like unwell.
No.
Like, I know it's here.
My steps.
Right? That's how I was feeling.
So obviously, voice phenomenon, the E in EVP is electronics. So this wouldn't exist without the electronic portion of it. And it's not as though people didn't think that they were communicating with deceased people before we had electronics. They just did it in a different way. So this is like its own thing.
I was like into those ghost hunting shows though.
I'm
like,
still
wasn't there
into
that one on MTV? I think it was called Fear.
Oh my God, it was so good. So fucking
It was good. They'd go to like mental hospitals.
Yeah.
Or, like, same shit, but it was like for youths, like cool youths.
But I like being scared. I really do.
Well,
I love ghost hunter shows. I don't
I
believe
like
that
to be
they're
scared
real,
too.
but I still like them. And you know what? Maybe someday I'll have an experience where I'm like, yeah, there is literally no other explanation except that this happened. Because like at this point, I have had experiences, but I can't guarantee that they weren't like me hallucinating or like something else. I just can't.
Well, and even before we did this episode, you had done like the ghost one, and you were like, I thought this would be real, but everything I'm finding says otherwise.
I went into it thinking I saw what I saw. I can trust my brain. I can trust my eyes. And then I was like, oh shit, my mind's a liar all the time. Since the time that we're born, we're always looking for reasons for everything. And apparently we've been looking for ghosts and like what happens to people when they go away forever since like the beginning of at least recorded time. I mean, for me, it's like liberating to think like there's probably nothing after. You just stop. It's just the end. And you don't know that it's the end. It just is.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because for me, it makes everything more meaningful. I know that a lot of people feel like there's more meaning if you think about going somewhere after. But for me, it's like, this is all I have.
Oh my God, I think that it just starts over. I just think that like it never ends.
God, did you ever see that movie? We'll totally get back to the point of this whole thing in a minute, but I want to tell you about this movie. Have you seen the movie Another Earth?
Yeah, I have. I thought it was really good.
It was so fucking good. So fucking good. But it's like the idea that like somewhere there's you living a different life, having different experiences, having the same possibilities, but choosing differently.
That makes sense to me.
I think the idea that like time overlaps time makes the most sense to me, but it's still like there's literally no way of proving that.
Like with Deja Vu and stuff?
Deja Vu, I think you just like, you're hardwired to like notice patterns. So it makes sense that you notice a like weird pattern and your brain is like, hey, maybe we should pay attention to this one. And you're like, ooh, that's weird. And then your brain's like, I know, right? I'm scared. Right. I like to think about me and my brain having a conversation.
Right. And your response is always just like, I'm scared, stop.
As far back as the 1920s, Thomas Edison was the first person to hint at building what we would consider an EVP recording device. He called it a ghost machine. The first people who successfully built a kind of ghost machine was, I am going to butcher this, Attila von Zille. So he was the first to publicly claim that he had successfully built a machine in which you would receive communication from the dead. And it was basically an armoire that was padded on the inside, had a trumpet hanging from the ceiling. The microphone was mounted inside the trumpet, and then the microphone came out of the top. There might be some sort of speaker on the outside of the box. And
so like black and white, like silent film, right?
It's just
the trumpet.
The trumpet is what really got me. I was like, okay. It was basically like they assumed they would receive something. And 9 times out of 10, it was like just echoes and like nothing. But they started then receiving what they considered to be messages. And it has to be said,
they crack me up.
A lot of the messages that they received in context don't really make much sense, but it meant something to Attila and his bud.
One of them is hot dog art.
It's a completely different statement if you remove the comma. Hot dog art. Hot dog art.
Like, what does that even mean? They're like, do you hear it? He's talking about hot dogs. We love those.
It was a like exclamation like, oh my God, you made a ghost machine. Cool.
I'm just like still thinking about Costco hot dogs. I'm like
hot dog
yum.
art. Also, it has to be said that radio existed at the time. It's entirely possible to pick up radio signals everywhere. So there's that guy, or those two guys. It was him and his buddy Raymond Bayless. And Attila later went on to write the 1979 book called Phone Calls from the Dead. The next person that I wanted to talk about is a Latvian doctor who kind of claimed to have recorded 72,000 EVPs with various people from history. Lots and lots of dictators, lots and lots of every single person that he talked to spoke in his native tongue, not in their own.
But if you think about like possessions and stuff, like doesn't that happen? Like they speak in all sorts of languages.
Yeah, but this isn't a possession. It's just like a ghost coming up and being like, is this thing on?
Yeah. Hey, it's me, Hitler. I speak Latvian now.
Just wanted to talk to you specifically. What's up? He also said that he got a ton of messages from Hitler, and a lot of the messages were about him. I feel like it's just like a way of being self-absorbed. Like having a whole bunch of ghosts like talk to you and talk at you about you.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
He's an idiot.
So he's actually the person who kind of coined the term EVP, but he called it electronic voice projection. So it was later kind of reworked into electronic voice phenomenon. I'm sorry.
You're boring me.
I'm
kidding.
The last person that I wanted to talk about was this lady, Sarah Estep. And she's the person who in the 80s kind of reinvigorated interest in EVPs. And she created a nonprofit called American Association of Electronic Voice Phenomenon. She wanted to standardize practices. She wanted to raise awareness that this was like a total fucking real thing, guys. Totally real, trademark. But she also said that she was receiving not just messages from people's deceased loved ones and her own deceased loved ones, but extraterrestrials. So
I like that.
I mean, she's getting it everywhere.
They want to
it
talk
from all
to me.
angles.
And I need America to be aware of it.
I need everybody to know. This has been like a fucking thing for a hot goddamn minute. So much so that the CIA was interested in it. But like, to be fair, the CIA, as we've discovered, has had their hands in all the pies.
I don't even understand what they do.
They're just gathering information and being weird with it.
I know the CIA report was interesting to me because, like, you know, you read the whole thing and then at the end they're like, well, you know what? We're not really impressed by this. So he told us about his machine and we were like, whatever.
We were like, gay.
I did think a lot of the data that guy found. What was his name?
Alexander McRae. He was a professor of information technology in 1984.
Yeah. Well, and originally, like, what I thought was interesting is this guy, Alexander McRae, wasn't really a believer. Like, he was like, this is a load of shit. I'm going to do my own experiments.
You don't think he was a believer?
It didn't seem like it. It seemed like he was like, okay, because he mentioned that thing about like there being like all the same times of like when the voices were recorded, like that it was like too similar. Like it was like 2 seconds and at like 1.7 seconds is when there'd be the thing happen. And
right.
He's like, this is a load of shit. I'm going to do it myself. And then he's like, actually, like.
To be fair, he did try to do it in a more scientific way, but it kind of seemed to me like he wanted to believe in it. Like he already had the interest in it. If you go into it thinking like you already have an interest and you want it to be real, or you at least want to figure out that it's real, I think you're more likely to find shit.
100%.
And he did. He also created some sort of device, but I couldn't find the schematics for it.
Well, and in that CIA document, it's all like described, but I like read 2 lines of it and was like, I'll pass.
Started looking to the side like, oh shit, I'm reading. But yeah, he said the field seemed to proceed in the most unscientific manner. Nothing was ever measured, although the words research and expert were bandied around like tokens in a game of Let's Play Scientists.
I love that.
I loved that too. It sounded so fucking shitty. But yeah, he found shit. And apparently he found like a message from his own dad, but he tried to make it so that he was just counting the words and counting the like seconds.
Yeah.
So that he wasn't trying to receive any like real information that was relevant to him and that he wasn't like getting overly emotional about it. He was trying to do it in a way where it wasn't like, oh, but I heard from my dad, it's real.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm curious if the CIA like went ahead and did anything with it. They probably did, and then like killed people or like.
But didn't they they mentioned something about like, we don't think this thing is real, but we do think we can use some sort of machine like this to make our psychics better and they can receive more information. Like, oh my God, you guys don't get it. You
Classic
guys are not
CIA.
getting it. Womp, womp. So do you want to tell us how to DIY an EVP?
I do.
It's going to be the weirdest DIY ever. I'm going to play like the YouTube music. Okay, you guys.
I like what you wrote here. We're sharing notes. I'm going to read it. If you're interested in freaking yourself out and trying to hear intelligible comments and random white noise, here are the tips we got from a super official looking website. It is so funny, guys, because we both did this research separately, but there's like such a small amount of like air quotes credible research that like everything we found was the exact same stuff.
Which means it was all gold.
At liveabout.com. Anyway, number 1, you need to buy equipment.
Yeah.
How are you going to record, ghosts if you don't have equipment? So you need a digital recorder, headphones, an omnidirectional microphone. Charge it, have batteries, and they need to work, okay?
You can't just like buy something that doesn't have batteries and doesn't work and expect to receive a message from your loved one.
Show up at like an abandoned hospital with everything
look like a
dead.
Fucking idiot with the other investigators. Why do you do this to yourself? Self-sabotage. Get the fucking equipment.
Number 2, choose your location. You should probably go to a haunted house, somewhere that like seems sketch. Yeah. Don't like go to your grandma's house if she's still alive and nice.
Also, they mentioned something about you might want to consider that if you receive a message while you're in your own home and you have roommates, that they might not want to live there anymore.
Like, please keep paying me rent. Okay, number 3, keep it quiet. You won't be able to hear like the subtle voices and breathing and weird shit if it's too noisy. So like turn everything off, all of it. Number 4, ask questions. Keep your normal tone of voice. And make sure you wait for them to respond. You could ask things like, are there any spirits here? Can you tell me your name? How did you die?
Why are you here?
Right? I reached out to you, but I actually want you to leave me alone.
I need you to leave.
Number 5, have a conversation. Don't avoid talking to each other. You guys can be best friends. You're funny. Apparently ghosts are fucking eavesdropping interrupters. Did you watch the one video? It was like a ghost hunters one where like the ghosts were like being skeezy to the women.
Oh yeah, like ghosts are perverts or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what it was called. Like, this ghost is a pervert. Like, man, I was just trying to get laid.
Right.
I don't know how this works when I'm a ghost anymore.
Number 6, keep an ear out for ambient noise. Yeah, it's like if there's somebody else talking, you don't want to think that that's a ghost, because then you sound like an idiot. This ghost sounded so much like my husband. It was so weird. Number 7, take your time, okay? It's not a race. The ghosts will talk to you when they're ready. If you wait long enough, you'll just like believe any sound is a ghost. Number 8, listen to the recording through speakers on your computer or headphones. It's pointless to try to listen on the tiny speaker of your recording device, which is so true. It's like for all of these, I had to turn up the volume so loud. I love this. Number 9, edit the files to hear potential responses. Editing can help bring clarity to your recordings.
It's true. Editing can bring out a whole bunch of things.
Number 10, get other opinions. You may hear one thing, but your friends may hear something different. It's so funny. It's like, no, seriously, listen, this is what it says.
No, do you hear it? What if I say it to you while it says it?
You crack me up, these things that you wrote. You could be hearing a message that no one else hears because you just spent a fucking hour in a room talking to the wall. I just love this stuff. Additional tips: work at night, which, we're recording at night tonight, so it'd be more spooky. Join the club. There's actually a Reddit, that you can go to, all about EVPs. I think there's like 800 people in it or something. It's not huge, so people will respond.
Some people will talk to you.
Listen to other ones so you know what weird, like, breathy things to listen for. It's silly.
Work at night, join the club, listen to EVPs, and get yourself real fucking worked up. That's all you need to do.
I'm scared.
Anyone can be an investigator, Mr. Investigator. So do you want to tell us how this shit works? I couldn't find anything. I
couldn't find anything either. I'm
Nobody
looking up
wants
like
to talk about how it works.
EVP facts, scientific facts. And it's just like no results. There's a quote from Rugrats that has stuck with me since I was like 7 and maybe younger, I don't know. But Angelica says some like shit to Tommy Pickles. She's like, if you have to ask, you'll never know.
It's like it's dumb that you'd even ask.
Right? And that's how I feel about this. I'm just like,
the fact that you'd ask makes you an idiot.
All questions are
Obviously,
stupid questions.
It's energy.
Duh. What did you write? Einstein is quoted often.
Quelle surprise.
Energy doesn't die, it just changes. So, I mean, if you think about that in terms of like dead people and like we're filled with energy, it's like when you die, you turn into radio frequency.
Totally. Can you imagine how fucking overpopulated our world would be if all ghosts were just like hanging out right where they died?
That sounds yucky to me.
There are like 50 ghosts in like right in this area right now. Like, God, get off me.
It's yucky. I don't like it.
It's like the Japanese metro where they're just like pushing people through. How many ghosts are
anyway, more facts about EVP. So white noise and ambient noise, all of these messages like come in white noise. You have to have white noise to hear the messages ghosts have for you.
Apparently they use the noise to like reformulate the sound waves to become words.
Well, we'll get into this a little bit later, like some of the stuff I looked into about like auditory hallucinations and stuff. And I have like these things called phantom words, which is very interesting. And it's like your brain just wants it, you know, like the man in the moon. Like there's no fucking face there, but we see it.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know about you, but I see faces in the front of cars.
I saw a desk recently that looked like a face. And I was like, do you see that? And then I realized that the desk was actually supposed to look like several faces. And one of them was clearly a cat face. I was like, oh, okay.
This isn't my brain. It's design.
It's, yeah, this is on purpose. But most of the time I look at it and I'm like, it looks so happy.
I love that.
Look at that happy little car.
So cute. But yeah, our brains are very interesting. You know, there's enough like static and shit. You're like, I hear you talking to me.
Something is communicating.
Yeah. So I agree with you about this one. So multi-dimensional impressions. Like we live on one layer and then there's like all these other layers of life and death. And then like every now and then they're like, whoops, we came through.
That one seems the most realistic, but also like there's no way to prove any of that. So how realistic does that really make it?
Life is a layer cake.
Life is a layer cake. Eat it all.
Yeah.
Get real sweaty. So I added some nonsensical EVP technology. And y'all can look through it on the old website, ireadathing.com, because it will be there. But basically, you just need to know this. If it creates a noise or a lot of noises, then it's going to probably be a ghost machine. So are you guys ready to listen to Totally Real trademark EVPs? TotallyReal.com.
Yes. Woo! Bring it on. Bring it on.
All right. So the first one that I have for you, I called it Demon Shit for Real Nope. So I'm going to warn you that there is a very alarming, what sounds like a horrific demon scream.
I think that's even how I found it, like most terrifying EVP ever.
Even if you don't believe, which I'm not a believer, it still freaked me out. I did not enjoy it.
I don't like it either.
You're going to hear a person talking about it first. And this is just the guy basically telling you like what led to him recording in this specific bathroom in his sister's house, or his sister's apartment, I think is where he is.
Hey, everybody. Once again, I'd just like to give you just a little bit about what you're hearing and what to expect.
It's like a
this
blog.
was recorded in my sister's bathroom in an apartment complex in Folsom. Now, it wasn't an old apartment complex. In fact, it was probably no more than 10 years old. It was a pretty nice place. But my sister had a tendency to conjure or bring about some of the really, really bad ones, you know. And so anyways, she always felt really, really uneasy in her bathroom. So one night when I had the chance to stay over, I had set this recorder in her bathroom and I had let it record overnight. And you're going to hear her baby was, only a few months old back then. And she was crying a lot in the middle of the night. And we were all completely sound asleep. We all slept right through this. Nobody heard a thing. And there's this clicking sound, and you're going to hear it. There's this constant.
There's a lot of that, like the clicks.
Yeah, the clicking is a total thing.
Everywhere in that bathroom, and I could not find anything that would make that noise. I just don't know where it came from. But the scream, okay, this scream is the most blood-curdling, crazy, scariest, really just strange scream I've ever heard. And it's not like a scream that's off in the distance and
Guys,
you're like, oh, somebody screamed. No. This shit is it's loud, okay?
Like I'm going to remove my headphones when it comes.
Just be prepared. You don't need to have your speakers up really loud to hear this.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm turning down the volume. I'm scared. It's coming.
So that's just baby.
That's it. I mean, it is so freaking loud, and it sounds like it's building up before it finally gets to scream. And I swear to God, it gives me shivers every time I hear it.
Oh my God.
That stuff freaks me out, dude.
Babies are creepy enough because they're always like looking off into the distance, and you're like, oh.
Right? What are you looking at?
They're like, my eyes don't work yet.
Right.
To like hear a baby cry and then to hear that.
I hate it.
I don't enjoy. So the next thing that I'm going to play, spoiler alert, there is like what sounds like violence. And I don't know that I'll play the whole thing because I think it's kind of long. Apparently this was like a ghost hunter situation. So take that as you will. There were only females on staff that night. So there were no guys. You will hear a guy who says, I think, help me or something like that over and over again. I can't remember. I've blocked it. You'll hear what sounds like a violent scuffle. You will hear a woman screaming. You will hear a clock ticking. And they say like there was no cuckoo clock. It's like, well, I have a clock that is just a regular ass clock that you can hear ticking through any microphone.
Yeah, clocks are loud.
Clocks are just loud. If it's an analog clock, it's probably loud. There is like a reason that people will market clocks as silent analog clock. Just to keep all of that shit in mind. No dudes. Supposedly a fancy hotel. There's the clock. So you're going to hear the investigators kind of talking in the background. Clock, tick, tock. I don't like air. This one gets a little loud too.
Yeah, it's fucking freaky.
Just the like warm up of the clock. Just a clock.
I could not be a ghost hunter. I don't have the patience for this.
So there's no men. There's a man's voice in the background.
Our faces.
I think most of that was like the most alarming portion of it, where you're just like, oh, blah. It kind of sounded like a cat fight. It's just a little
funny though. It's like, what's the idea that in like this ghost realm that there's just like chaos and like weird demons being, you know what I mean? Like, is that what this concept is? That it's just like there's like these, you die and then you become this like weird demon with like this creepy ass voice. Like, I don't know.
I mean, if I died, I would be like the biggest fucking troll. I would be a total fucking troll. I would just like
Wedgie ghost.
I would make weird jokes all fucking day. I don't know. I would just like walk real close to people and go. It wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't be relevant to my life in any way, but it would just it would make me happy as a dead person.
Right.
To walk behind someone and go.
Right.
Okay, so I saved the best for last.
This one's yours, right?
This one is mine. It happened in my house.
I'm scared. I've been in your house. I go to your house.
I know. It's a little scary, but it's not like the worst. I think you're going to be fine. So I'll show you this. There's like a lot of this. I think I did like a 15 minutes something or another. Mm-hmm. And I was just in a room in my house. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do it and it'll be dumb. And I'll be like, hey, there's nothing here. So this is me talking. You can see this is the regular white noise, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can see that there's something in here. Yeah. I kind of assumed it would be Ripley hollering as she is wont to do. I don't know. I'm going to see what you think about it because I have my ideas. So you can listen. Is there anyone in this room who wants to talk or has a message for someone?
What the fuck? No.
So did you understand any of that?
No, what did it say? But it sounded like it's like, blah, blah, demon
it said
shit.
Subscribe, review us on Apple, bitches.
What did it say?
It said subscribe, review us on Apple, bitches.
Oh my God, did you do that?
Yeah. And I am not good with sound editing at all. So if it was that easy for me to do that.
Oh my God, that scared me. And it's just you messing around. I'm like, there's no ghost in my house.
It's me talking to myself and I distorted the fuck out of it.
Well, it was pretty scary.
Yeah, it sounded weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's like, it's so fucking easy to do. That took me all of 10 minutes.
Oh my God, you bitch. You like text me about it. And I'm like, oh, I'm scared and jealous.
I didn't get anything. I got myself telling other people to subscribe.
But seriously, do it. Or like demons are going to come to your house.
I'm going to hell.
I looked at the same ones as you, like extra terrifying. Like you already had put them up. So I'm like, okay, I need to find like something.
I mean, the second one wasn't as terrifying to me because it kind of sounded like a cat fight.
Yeah.
It was like alarming because it was loud and unexpected.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also it's just like what I was saying. It's like really like at this place that they're at, this fancy hotel, there's some sort of like demon war going on. Like, I don't get it.
Or like that someone's been murdered there and then she has to be murdered every day. That's absurd.
Yeah, but that doesn't even sound like what a murder is. Like,
right? It sounded like a whole bunch of wind and it kind of sounded like a cat fight. And also, It doesn't matter to me if someone's like, there were no men in the building. I'm like, fuck off. You're lying.
No boys allowed.
I would like the census to come in.
So I have two. So this one's really short and it's from the 835 member EVP community on Reddit. And this one kind of freaked me out.
I'm going to have to turn it up really loud. Hold on. Ooh.
Yeah, you hear that?
It makes me want to barf.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's super short, but I was like...
She's trying to sleep.
Yeah, she's trying to sleep. Yeah.
Fuck off.
I know. It's like at least the ghost was trying to be nice. Like, hey.
But yeah, who's the other ghost? She's trying to sleep. We'll murder her mom some other day.
Right? It's so fucking weird. It's so freaky. Okay, so this spirit orb one was literally the stupidest one that I watched. They hear sounds or whatever. And of course there's like subtitles. So you're like, that's what they're saying. You'll see. It's really stupid.
I saw no bugs outside. There are no insects. There's a fucking insect or a piece of dust. Oh, dipshit. My God.
Can you show yourself for me?
Can you be an insect for a minute? don't understand why.
Can you show yourself?
Inside my house. Everyone is asleep in my bed. Or except... That's supposed to say play with me. To me, it's for real.
Here comes the orb. You ready for this shit?
Oh my God. Cropped and super slow. It's clearly a piece of dust.
Like this guy just took a bunch of dabs and his family is asleep and he's like, oh shit.
Our floorboards are super squeaky and they do sound like a cat crying sometimes.
Yeah, well, but if everybody's sleeping, I get it. That's like weird. But sometimes houses make that like weird house sound. You know what I mean? Like, totally. No, this is like the stupidest one. And it's interesting because he has a big follower.
You on this?
Big
Yeah,
following.
Hub
Okay.
Paranormal, Steve Hub, we're
there's-
actually going to
there's no
talk about
bugs
him
in
later. I don't know if this is actually Steve.
Play with us.
Whatever.
I can see.
Like, and
what
I
you
just don't
mean.
even hear that. It's like his fucking heater or something.
Yeah, I don't even know where he lives, but if he has a radiator, those things make eerie fucking sounds. I don't know if you've ever lived in a building in Chicago in the winter, but it's disturbing.
It just cracks me up. Like over and over again. There are no insects in my house.
There are no insects outside. I looked everywhere.
I wish I had the link there for the girl on YouTube like flipping out about her boyfriend. They did an EVP, like her and her boyfriend, or I think just her and her boyfriend wasn't involved, but like the ghost or whoever was like calling his name.
That's deeply upsetting.
Listen to it too. When it first started recording, it was really staticky, which, like I said, none of the recordings before that had any kind of static or any noise like that. I'll play it again right now. So I had shown it to someone at work one day. I don't know, things that are this extreme, I kind of don't just tell everybody about just because like I know
Good
how it
idea.
sounds, I know how it makes me look. But anyways, I had shown this to someone at work and then a couple weeks later, everybody was like, so let's hear this recording you have on your phone. And one of my friends, he listened to it and right away he goes, what's your man's name again? Jesse? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, it says, hi, Jesse in the beginning, which I'll play it normal right now. So I played around with the audio to try to see if I could understand it more or hear more what it was saying. And I will play that version right now. The recording at 3:14 is even scarier. I don't know what's scarier. But the recording at 3:14, you hear two growling noises. So let's go ahead and play that. I still, like every single, I've heard these recordings so many times, but I still, every time I hear them, it just like, it makes me just like cringe and like just freaks me out, gives me goosebumps. But again, you hear the static and then kind of towards the end, you can hear it just, the static goes away and then it stops recording because there was no more sound frequencies. So I'll play it again for you guys.
No.
Right? I'd like move. I'm like,
No, thank you.
moving.
I mean, in some ways, this girl's, I think, is real because she like seems so genuine and is like scared. When we get into hallucinations, like auditory hallucinations and stuff, if you're looking for something, you're going to find it.
Oh, yeah. And I think also feeling like you heard something and then listening back at a recording,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I'm going to find the thing that I heard
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to make it make sense in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe it's real and I still like feel very uncomfortable. I am deeply uncomfortable with every aspect of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like it.
Thank you.
I don't like it.
Let's talk about like why people hear this shit. it's interesting. And some of it we've talked about with the ghost episode. We talk about like pattern recognition all the time too, because people are very simple creatures. We are built to see patterns in everyday chaos, right? It's what keeps us safe in general. The biggest thing that we do with pattern recognition is we look for things to make sense. And I think the most interesting way of thinking about this is if you listen to music that is in a different language and you listen to it the first time, your brain will start to kind of process it like it is in your language, your native language that you're used to hearing. My daughter will listen to like K-pop and like Spanish pop singers, and she is like super obsessive with it. And she feels like she can speak Korean because sometimes she hears things and her brain processes it in a way to sound like it's in English.
She is so cute.
And she's like, but I know that this is Korean. I must be. Like, but those aren't the words. And I'm like, so we had this long conversation about your brain is built to try to make sense of everything that it's receiving. And if you only speak one language, then it makes sense that your brain would listen to other languages and almost try to like figure out what people are saying based on the language that you know, not the language that they're speaking.
Have you ever heard those things where it's like people speaking in sounds, but it sounds like a certain language?
Yes.
So interesting.
I love that. Even knowing that it's not in actual words, I will still like try, my brain tries to unscramble everything.
Cool.
Like I can't understand what they're saying. I know that it's English because it sounds absurd. So, it sounds choppy, like American English.
Our language is ugly.
Our language is definitely very terse. There is a guy who has an ongoing project called Rorschach Audio, and he talks a lot about EVPs. In a November 2016 article on RorschachAudio.com, he says, in responding to the argument that some listeners perceive EVP as being ghosts, etc., as a result of simple mishearings, Parapsychology, a handbook, states that some writers have extended the Pareidolia hypothesis by suggesting that listeners project themselves in the Freudian sense into random noise so that their interpretations are often tailored to their own personality and needs, hence the term Rorschach audio. They go on to state that Banks, 2001, has offered an interesting analysis of this possibility, which we agree is certainly plausible. In fact, I would say that this psychoanalytic aspect is particularly relevant in the case of most famous EVP researcher Konstantin Rodiv, the guy who had 72,000 EVPs.
Just like some lonely ass dude, man.
He was just in his bunker jacking off and recording everything. Who stated, for example, on page 88 of his book Breakthrough that, quote, utterances by Hitler or about him could fill a separate book, emphasis added. So I thought that that was really interesting that even like parapsychologists or people who believe in the paranormal have admitted that a lot of times people are hearing what they want to hear.
Absolutely. I'm going to talk a little bit about pareidolia and auditory hallucinations. Pareidolia is like just with your eyes, like it's not with hearing. So it's like, you know, constellations are that. The man in the moon, like I had talked about earlier, like seeing Jesus on toast. Or who was it, Virgin Mary or some shit.
Virgin Mary on like a wall with water damage.
People are silly. It's like with the ink blot test, people's like psychological place that they're in like shows up in the things that they're perceiving, you know? So it's like, okay, you're like grieving and you miss your grandma. Like you're going to hear your grandma in the static. I've never taken an ink blot test, but I looked at a lot of the different pictures.
It always looks like people having sex.
So this isn't really science of EVPs, the science of our brains and the way that stuff works. So like something that I came across was phantom voices, which I think is super interesting. And I'm not sure if you read much about it, but this woman, Diana Deutsch, they play audio and it like comes out of like speakers at two different sides. And it'll be like one word broken in half, like by the syllable, or it's two spoken words. And like they say it over and over again. You know, it's like almost like when you say the word fork or something over and over and over again, it loses its meaning. But this is the opposite.
There was like this thing where people would hear like either one thing or another. And it was like all over Facebook for a minute, but I can't remember what it was. It was like bottle and something else.
Yeah. I remember this. This was like a thing a few years ago.
Yeah, where people are like, oh my God, everybody hears something different. And I'm like, that's the fucking point. Can't call anybody an idiot. If everybody's an idiot, nobody's an idiot.
If everybody's stupid, we're all smart. Right? I don't know. What I thought was interesting is that like a lot of times people would hear like stuff that has to do with the way they're feeling, like hungry, lonely.
Oh,
So I listened to 3 of them. I have them here if you want to listen to them.
okay.
This one sounded like no way to me.
Nowhere or no way. So weird. That's
Now
so
I hear
weird.
rowboat.
Rowboat. Let me try
Yeah.
again. I'm not getting rowboat. I'm just getting nowhere or no way. That's so fucking weird.
So
Can you
the next
imagine
one,
playing that
I
during
heard
sex?
Feel young.
That's so weird. What did you
Yeah,
hear?
downtown.
Downtown? Let me try it again. I'm not hearing downtown at all.
And I had feel young was what I originally heard.
Feel young. Yeah, I can hear that for sure.
And then the last one I heard
Hilda. Nightlight?
Nightlight.
Play that during sex. Let me find it. Nightlight. I just hear high low.
It's supposed to bounce from side to side, and for some reason on my headphones right now, it's not.
That's so weird.
Yeah, like when I listened to it earlier, it like bounces from side to side, like where you hear it. Is it working like that on you?
Yeah, it works like that for me. I don't know if it's a matter of like,
I listened to them earlier, so it doesn't matter.
It's probably the screen sharing thing.
Yeah.
Oh
but
my
I thought
God,
that was
so
interesting.
weird.
Just kind of like you just hear shit.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't say anything.
No.
But we're like hearing it.
And then we wrote about temporal induction, which I also thought was really interesting. And that really applies to especially the like the radio frequencies that keep switching, that weird like ghost box. And essentially what you're doing is you're filling in the blanks with your brain. So your brain will connect 2 different points, even when there's nothing in between, so that your brain can then make sense of it. And you can really hear it with this temporal induction in speech example.
The state governors met with their respective legislatures convening in the capital city. The state governors met with their respective legislatures convening in the capital city. The state governors met with their respective legislatures convening in the capital city.
Oh, so it's just cut out?
Yeah, it's just cut out. You know, you're just going to try to find continuity in pretty much anything. I have all of this linked to, and it'll obviously be on the video. I found a whole paper by this geologist / researcher / author. She's like a fucking
boss bitch.
Oh my God. So anyway, this lady, Sharon A. Hill is her name. But she talked about how almost all of these paranormal websites have a lot of mention of like science or like, you know, a soft mention of like theories or like scientific principles. And that really does convince people. And I feel like, especially looking into like the ghost hunters and ghost adventures and paranormal like investigators or whatever those stupid shows are that I am still obsessed with. But looking at all of them, they do use the jargon. They rely pretty heavily on it. And it's almost like a shield of like, you can't possibly criticize me and my beliefs because look, I'm saying the science way about stuff, doing the science way. Look at me.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that show Fear. I don't know if it's really called that, but like they would go through like the basics, you know, at the beginning of every episode. Like these are our recorders, like because they would send the people in, right? That's what it was. Like they would
send the people in. They would have to stay there all night, and I think there was some sort of penalty.
Yeah, if you decided to leave, you'd like lose.
Yeah. And if you stayed, you'd get some sort of prize. I don't remember if it was like money or if it's like, you know, you get sponsored by a lifetime of hot dogs.
That sounds awesome.
Oscar Mayer, lifetime supply.
When I was in elementary school, I auditioned for an Oscar Mayer Wiener commercial.
Oh my God.
And there was like the Wiener Mobile and stuff. I sung the Oscar Mayer song.
It's the best.
I don't perform well under pressure, so I definitely did not get the job.
Did you not become an Oscar Mayer winner? So the last thing that I wanted to mention is finding voices in radio signals specifically. The clicks kind of suggest that potential sources of stray voices could be taxi transmissions, emergency services, air bands, maritime, military, short, medium, and long wave commercial broadcasts, TV voice channels, ham radio experiments.
Like basically anything that ever makes sound.
It very well could be like a radio broadcast or a television or like fucking murder. I don't know. Who knows? But I thought that the clicks thing was really interesting because like you mentioned, there are a lot of them that have clicks.
They do. It's a thing. Another thing that we didn't really talk about that I thought was interesting is sometimes there'd be like total silence before it.
To me, that sounds more like poor editing. Because that was actually something that I did with mine. The sounds were wildly different, like the tone was wildly different. So I changed my tone to sound kind of tinny and hollow, like I was in a big room. And then I changed the room tone to be more noisy. And then I had a separate room tone under. So I had like 4 layers of sound to create that very small recording. But I highly doubt people are doing that every time.
I mean, it sounded like real in the sense of like what EVPs sound like.
Right. But if you were just like average Joe putting together something like that on your own, you'd probably just like record some shit, chop, insert, chop. So to me, that indicates more that like that is for sure a fake and not a very good one.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for round 2?
Of scary EVPs. I don't really have any other ones.
Yeah, you do. You got 2 more.
Oh.
This one was a voice message, and I'll play just the top one for you. There are 2 of them. They're exactly the same. This person was like, oh my God, my husband's name is John.
It just sounds like there's music on.
Yeah, it sounds like it's in someone's pocket, A.
Yeah.
And that someone is at a concert or like...
So stupid.
Yeah, people are dumb. And then this one I thought was really funny. It's on a thing, like an actual TV show. And this lady is just like making shit up.
Cell block 4. Jordan begins to communicate with several of the prisoners.
All right, to the inmates that are in here, because I know that some of you followed me in here.
Did you?
I want to introduce myself to you. My name's Jordan.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Jordan.
Are you a murderer?
So salacious.
Come over here and tell me what you were put in this prison for. Say it very clearly for me. Murder, rape, whatever it was. Talk very clearly. I'm gonna end Pandora. The first response I get says, rape her. I wanted to find out exactly who was in there with me, what they had done to be put in the prison. And I say, are you a murderer? And they say, not yet.
Not yet. I'm gonna murder you, bitch.
You're getting on my nerves, though.
This is the
Really
second
pissing me
response of rape that I've got. There's a rapist in this cell with me right now.
Oh my God.
But here's the thing. She says, you know, you have to say what you did,
Mm-hmm.
say
And that's what she
murder or
hears.
rape.
Mm-hmm.
So she's already primed herself to hear what she wants to hear, which is just fucking absurd. Now I'm going to tell you, this one is my favorite because this is me as a ghost. So this is just like the
We're coming through the old first, might be a body in there. Well, a champion or two.
You're walking through like an old abandoned place.
Can you get in? Can you get in?
Also, it kind of sounds like that guy. Like it's got his accent and
Right,
everything.
I
So you're
know.
like, come on, dude. Come the fuck on. So this lady was doing EVP sessions in the Roosevelt Hotel. The Roosevelt. In the suite that Marilyn Monroe would usually stay in. And she says she's going to turn the lights on. And afterward, you are supposed to hear a female voice saying help.
Like, why? What is she saying help about?
I don't know, because she didn't die there.
Fucking stupid.
Okay. It's a little dark, so I'm going to turn that light on.
I heard it. I heard it.
So here's the other thing that I noticed when I was doing my EVP, my very special EVP, about how you should subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you. What I noticed is that when you have a camera up to your face, like if she's kind of holding her camera like this, you hear your breathing a lot more than you anticipate. Like you could hear me breathe over and over and over again. And I didn't even realize that I was breathing directly into the mic.
Wow.
Did you die by accident? Did you die by accident?
Oh my God. I hate this guy. He's so stupid.
It's just all dumb. Mining old interviews and things like that. And just like making it sound
I just don't
spooky,
understand
you
like
know?
this whole thing that like ghosts sound like weird robots.
Part of it, I think, is like the editing techniques. Like if you're trying to hear something in nothing, you're gonna...
You need like loud nothing.
Yeah, if you want to hear something in very loud nothing, the way that you have to edit the files will make it kind of distorted. And if you're really trying to hear something specifically, you're probably going to edit it into oblivion, and it's going to get that like...
Yeah.
It gets that ugly digital sound. All right, so do you want to tell us what you prepared for us?
Actual ghost. This one actually freaked me out. Just maybe like turn your volume down because this one freaked me out. Do you see what I wrote? Ew, what the fuck? That's what I wrote underneath.
All right, I'm turning my volume down a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't like this one. Should we be reading this? The homeowner complained of noises coming from the basement in the middle of the night. A digital audio recorder was placed in the basement to record any sounds. After 3 days of no suspicious audio, we recorded something interesting. The audio was amplified 20 times. Nothing else was done to the audio. I hate it. No other significant sounds were heard on the digital audio recording set up in the basement. The source of the noise is unclear.
Case unsolved.
But that one freaked me out. Like it sounds like dinosaurs or something. Oh, and here's the I Can't Breathe one. I didn't realize I shared it.
All right, here's the I Can't Breathe one. EVP recorded in an empty room.
Yeah, I don't like this one either. I'm turning down my volume. You hear it?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
And then there's like the demon or whatever. No. Yeah, these two were pretty
yet.
scary.
I don't like that. I don't like that. It does sound edited though.
Right, and there's like no video.
Right. I don't know.
Oh my God, I repeat, nothing I post here is fake. I can't. This guy's an idiot.
So we're going to wrap up by talking about the people who make money off of doing this shit, because there are a lot of people making a lot of money on this. One of them is Steve Huff, and he is a very notable YouTuber. He has his own app that you can download if you want to make your own EVPs. He creates merchandise. He fully buys into his own shit. But here's the thing. When you have to say, I repeat, nothing I post here is fake, made up, or drummed up from a crazy mind. I do not have the time to sit around and fake videos of paranormal activity. I would never, ever do that, as it would be childish, dumb, a waste of time, and very, very silly. And in my opinion, anyone who fakes paranormal evidence, or more specific, spirit communication, deserves a special place in hell, as this is not to be mocked. This research is way too important to take lightly, make fun of, or to even do incorrectly, which is why all I have ever done has been honest, true, and very real research. He didn't type and. He is not great at editing his own work in any sense of the word. Yeah. So this guy is, I think he was a professional photographer, and then he kind of turned to the paranormal, and he's been doing this supposedly for the last 10 years. He, like I said, made an app. He is currently producing equipment that is essentially just a reverb guitar pedal hooked to a speaker with a noise suppressor on it.
Wow.
And the most recent thing that he has made up is so it's the same reverb, but it will then take your voice, record it, and then you play it backwards. And then you can hear messages in your own.
That's so like circa 1970 or something.
It's so fucking stupid. But in 2017, he claimed to be essentially like haunted by a demon. And he was like, I quit. I am not into this anymore. And he's still going. So,
like, wait, everybody likes me now.
I quit, except for the part where I come back and I'm like, guys, I got rid of the demon, and I have all new ways of communicating with the dead. And apparently the dead named his first app the Portal. Like, the dead actually gave him that name. So
good job. Good job, dead.
People wear science like it's a badge, saying, I'm doing the science so you cannot criticize.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it in the science way.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of inductive reasoning in it, which is like, this thing is true. This thing is true. So this thing has to be true.
I love your example.
I feel like my example is like the height of my writing career, and I can just quit after this. Like, I'm never going to write.
It's so good.
Another thing. Here's a good example. The sun rises every day. Tomorrow is a day. The sun will rise tomorrow. And here's a bad example of inductive reasoning. All crabs have pinchers. All grandmas pinch cheeks. All grandmas are crabs.
Truth.
Flawless logic.
I love it. It cracked me up.
When I thought of it, I was like, okay, well, I'm done.
This is it.
I can go now.
Yeah, like I'm in a haunted room. I heard a sound.
That sound is ghosts. You can't reason with these people because to them, it's like they've clearly proven it with science. That being said, I fucking love listening to EVPs and watching ghost hunters.
I know, this was cool.
This was real fun. Okay, are you ready for just one more auditory illusion?
It's an EVP?
No, it's not an EVP.
Whoa.
You wouldn't get this from any other guy.
All right, I'm not going to make you listen to that whole
weird.
thing. I just like, people don't use Rickrolling anymore. It's like they've forgotten, but I never forget. But yeah, that's all we had prepared for you guys. It was a whole bunch of spooky, a whole bunch of technical difficulties, and I think we're all better people for it.
I think so too.
We're all more paranoid people for it. Oh my god!
No, I think this was good.
We haven't decided what we're going to do next, have we?
Mm-mm.
I started doing research on Muzak, so maybe I'll just get that ready.
Yeah, Muzak is so interesting. It's so weird.
You wouldn't think that vanilla elevator music, easy listening, would be as weird and horrifying as it is.
Right?
But
Is it even easy listening? I watched a movie recently where they kept playing Muzak and I had subtitles on and it kept being like Muzak playing in the background.
people now relate it to be like kind of gently brainwashed. So I think for a lot of people it feels very oppressive, but it's an interesting science, a really interesting science, and it's dark in places.
I can't wait to hear about it.
I can't wait to tell you about it. Thank you so much for joining us and me and my little pal, my little squishy that I had to hold because Emma scared me. You scared me. No.
Your little friend.
I don't like.
It's so cute. I can just be like, bye everybody. Love you.
Yeah, let's just do it that way.
Right? See you soon. I'm gonna haunt you.
I'm already haunting you. All right, you guys, we have been I Read a Thing. You can find us wherever you stream your podcast or at ireadathing.com. And we are pretty much on every social media site as either I Read a Thing or I Read a Thing podcast. Please feel free to leave us a little comment. Tell us how we're doing, please. We love you. We will be back in 2 weeks for an amazing and completely technical difficulty free episode. God willing. But yeah, thank you so much. We love you. We'll see you next time. Mwah. Bye.